War. War never changes.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Welcome to another edition of War Never Changes, your weekly. What? What?
War never changes. It doesn't.
Oh, I don't know why you're shaking your head. I'm like, did I
This
screw
war doesn't
up?
change.
Well, I did screw up accidentally because I clicked Phil's farewell right before I clicked it, so it's going to be like a millisecond flash of Phil's farewell and then the show. And I know you didn't see that, and I was like, why is he shaking his head? Listen here, naysayer. This is War Never Changes, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Jim, but more importantly, the man over there, the man, the myth, the legend, Philbert McCracken. How you doing, Phil?
Doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It seems like you've got your. I was catching up on your polos, listening to you talk about your latest hotel escapades. Clearly, you are in yet another hotel, um, and you are now finally once again connected back on Xbox. The world is so
Yep.
happy. I know it was a long night for you last night. No Xbox connectivity. Everybody's playing a game. You were just I don't know what you were doing.
I cried myself to sleep.
Sulking. But now you're back. You're back. You're happy. You called the IT guy at was the IT guy the local IT guy, or was this like the IT guy at like the national level? That's what I want to
Some
know.
guy in a jumpsuit whose boss didn't think highly of me.
How far did you take this? And you figured it out. I'm proud of you. And they fixed it. Are you on like some preferred list because you travel so much? They're like, oh, this guy, he'll be back again. We totally need to like get him his own IP, like conduit into the network. Do they
Yeah,
know
I
who
have.
you are? Do they know you're the co-host of War Never
Yeah,
Changes?
I have a really high status with both Marriott and Hilton.
And now, once again, you've pulled some strings and you said, "Listen here, when I want to play Xbox, you're gonna listen." And they said, "Yes, sir." And somewhere in some room, like room, I don't know what room you're in, but another room, some guy's internet just cut off because it just
You know
funneled
what,
all the bandwidth into you.
dude? The best part is that the guy was up here trying to fix it, and he needed both hands to work on something, and so he was on the phone with his boss who was trying to help him figure it out, and he put his boss on speakerphone. And the first thing his boss said as soon as he put it on speakerphone, mind you, he didn't tell his boss he was about to put him on speakerphone.
Right, right.
The first thing the guy says is, "This fucking loser needs to hook his Xbox up to play with 5-year-olds." And I look at the kid and he looks back at me and this kid looks scared. So I just immediately say, "Fuck yeah, dude."
Oh
It's
no.
silence.
Oh
It's just
no.
silence. And I'm like, I also use it to watch like Netflix and
Right.
HBO, and it's still silent. And the guy looks at me and he's like, and then he like takes his boss off speaker, and he just says, "Sorry, yeah, sorry," and then he hangs up, and then he left. He's like, "I'm gonna have our IT company call you, and they're gonna walk you through how to fix it." And that's
Wow.
what happened.
But you got it. That's what a story. Well, we have some good stuff to talk about today. We're gonna go a little light again today. I had a call. Phil's got some delicious dinner. What's for dinner tonight?
Pizza.
Ooh. Phil's got pizza. Phil actually wrote some of the show notes. I wrote some of the show notes. We'll go back and forth. We'll start with one of mine, then we'll go with some of yours, and we'll go back with mine. And the top thing to talk about is the thing that everybody's talking about, and that is the financials for both PlayStation and Xbox. And the reason why this is important is if, yeah, I know. Okay, thanks for everybody. Have a good week. The reason why the financials are important is because it really does put facts behind the never-ending console war. It's always this console war. Who's better? Is Sony better? Is Microsoft better? Turns out they're both really, really good. PlayStation announced, I'm not going to read all of the metrics, but a couple of them here. $3.23 billion profit last year, which is pretty good chunk of change. It's no Bethesda money, obviously, but $3.23 billion profit. They sold to date 7.8 million PS5s. There's the baby right there. Ooh. 7.8 million PS5s, and to date, over almost 116 million PS4s. Over on the Xbox side, they do their metrics a little differently. They said that they had 3.53 billion in revenue. That's not clear if that's profit or just total. I have to assume it's probably pretty close to profit. And they've seen a 232% increase in hardware and a 34% increase growth in Game Pass. So,
Wait, what was the total net figure for PlayStation?
PS5, it was 3.23 billion profit. Console 7.8, PS5 116 million, PS4.
And Xbox's total revenue was 3.5 billion.
3.5 billion total revenue just in their games division only. Yes, with 232% increase
Okay.
in hardware, but we knew their hardware sales were slow last year, so 232% may not be as good as we think it is. Although they're sold out everywhere, so that's probably a good enough sign as is.
What I want to know is PS4 outsold the Xbox One like 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So, how much margin is Xbox making on their consoles?
Yeah, that's it's from what I have always heard, and I am no businessman. I've always heard that consoles are always sold at a loss. Always. They're never close. They're always at a loss, even day one. As the time goes on and the sales go down or the price goes down, it's even a greater loss. But they want to get you in because they want you to buy games. They want to get the PlayStation Plus or the Xbox Gold or the Game Pass or the microtransactions. So what are you laughing about?
It doesn't seem like Xbox is selling at a loss at all. Oh, dude, they sold half the amount of consoles and made $200 million more. It doesn't seem that way at all.
Well, a lot of that games, but a lot of that does roll into their Game Pass service too. So Game Pass, I know what you're saying. Yes, I get you. So I guess my question is, in the past we've had definitive winners. I think you could argue that no doubt about it, PlayStation 4 was the place to play. I don't care. I know you have an Xbox. I know you're an Xbox fanboy, but the reality is, us Sony ponies always had it on lockdown. However, that said, this generation, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think they're both just so sought after right now that I don't think there is a clear winner. I don't know if there needs to be a clear winner, honestly. I mean, these things are flying off the shelf.
I just want to make it perfectly clear for everyone. I own both an Xbox and a PS4. I played mostly on Xbox, but I also played a lot of PS4 whenever one of their exclusive games comes out. Jim always says that I'm an Xbox fanboy.
Because you are.
I literally don't. I don't care. I don't care, and I play now. When we play consoles, I play primarily on PlayStation because that's what my friends have. So whatever my friends have is the console I play. You're the only one that's like over there choking down a brand like, oh, PlayStation.
PlayStation
That's
for life, man. PlayStation Nation. Tried and true.
how many more Xboxes do you own than PlayStations?
3.
Well, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. This is like the second epilogue to the show because we've officially ended the show twice now.
The Bob is just like fading in and out.
We're gonna talk about the Bob here in a minute, but I want to. Okay, let me ask you this, and then we'll move on. Do you think you're telling me that you are an equal lover of all consoles?
No, not of all consoles. Switch sucks.
Okay.
I would say that yeah. I mean, I like my Xbox just as much as I like my PS5. I like them both equally. That one doesn't really have a super duper advantage over the other because Sony won't come out with any actual next gen games.
Well, that's kind of part two of this discussion is that right after this news came out, Jim Ryan announced of how profitable the games division was. Specifically, he said PlayStation sold 337 million games last year just on the platform, of which 55 million were first party. Obviously,
Jim, how much is 337 million times 60?
a lot. Let me open a calculator.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
337 million. Oh my God, that's 337 million times 60, which we know the game price did go up to 70. That is $2 billion.
Not bad, Sony. Not bad.
You're a third of the way to acquiring Bethesda, almost. When you look at that number and you think about the fact that Xbox just plumped down that kind of money for Bethesda, honestly, and just bought them like that, like it's still so ridiculous, you know, that like they could just throw that kind of money around. And PlayStation's like, hey, we had like $30 in sales last year, and they're like, cool.
Dude, in the grand scheme of things, and I understand that all the good creative people work for either Bethesda or Sony. There's no in between. There's no creativity anywhere.
Of course not. That's it. That's it. One of two.
I understand that like PlayStation is its own is a bad boy in the industry. I get it, but in the grand scheme of things,
yeah,
Sony and PlayStation are such a joke in comparison to Microsoft and Xbox. It's not funny. If they would sign the papers, Xbox could buy PlayStation so fast it'd make your head spin.
And be done with it, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that, you know, Sony is it's crazy that Sony is able to compete on a level like that, considering all they do is games. Obviously, they're not making the acquisitions that Xbox is, but they've clearly figured out the formula, because Microsoft, I can guarantee you, did not sell that many first-party games last year. I know they're really touting the Game Pass, the subscription service, and it's worked very well for them, but they still have yet to produce a first-party game that everybody's lost their mind over.
Well, fucking Xbox kind of had to do what they did and buy Bethesda because Sony has Santa Monica Studios, and I can't count on both my hands and both my feet how many fucking amazing games have come out of Santa Monica Studios.
Sony's, yeah, they said they're going to be doubling down based on that number. That's what I was starting to say, or when I was mentioning the numbers. Jim Ryan announced that they're going to be increasing their first-party output, and they want to continue. It's raised a lot of question as to whether Sony's going to continue to invest in indie games, or they're just going to be going for big home run games like Ratchet and Clank coming out soon. I think that game's going to sell really well. I think it's a good time for that game to come out, and I think it's going to make a lot of money.
In the grand scheme of how you spend your day, let's say on an average day, Jim probably spends pretty close to 6 hours on average playing video games. Of those 6 hours, how many of those hours or minutes do you spend playing indie games?
No more than 2. Small percentage. Because there's a few that I really like, but typically it's the big ones. Typically I'm focused on the big games.
So at what point do we say, okay, the new indie games are going to be AAA games that just don't necessarily have billion-dollar budgets, like
that's a good point.
Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or fucking Grand Theft Auto 6. You know what I mean?
No.
Cyberpunk literally cost them $1 billion to produce. $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they got no return on it because they're fucksticks.
It does raise the question as to, you know, the idea of the indie game, and it's a good point you bring up, because the idea of an indie game has always been just this homebrew studio, 1 or 2 guys sitting in their basement making something that didn't necessarily look that polished, but it had a really fun concept to it. And now you're starting to see indie games with the help of a lot of these creative tools that are really, really good looking. Like Valheim is an indie game. It was made by 5 people. You wouldn't know that playing it because it's pretty polished and it's got a pretty big following and it got tons of marketing. Even though it was fan marketing, it technically is an indie game, but it can go toe-to-toe and sell 7-8 million copies just like that. You really got to redefine what an indie game is, you know? And I think Sony is being a little more vocal, saying, hey, we're just going to focus on these big hit games. And if you want to have your indie games, you know, they're still out there. We're just not going to promote them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, well, I don't know, man. I think the era of the indie game is dead, and I think big games like Warzone and PUBG and Fortnite killed it.
Yeah, Fortnite in particular. That was that came out of nowhere. I remember when Fortnite came out with a battle royale. I remember laughing because I'm like, Fortnite, that's the stupid cartoon zombie game. No one's gonna ever mess with PUBG, and now you can't find PUBG on the top 20 of anything. All
Yeah,
right.
man, those games are taking all the share. Like
Oh
anyone
yeah.
who's undecided and might want to check out a new game, they've taken 100% of that share of wallet.
Everybody's jumping into the popular games because they don't want to miss out. Yeah, everybody's jumping into Warzone. You're right. I'd say Warzone in particular because Call of Duty has such a strong backing and a known pedigree for shooters. That is a natural first stop for a lot of people, and they don't leave.
And it's just a good game. Like it has its issues. There are cheaters. It doesn't make any sense that you and I were hiding behind pieces of furniture and like the only thing we could shoot at was that guy's head, and we both were shooting at his head, and he still killed us both. That doesn't make any sense to me. But aside from shit like that, it's a really good game. It runs great, and it's a fun fucking game.
It is, and they have the formula figured out with a good battle pass, the good business rhythm there to constantly get you in and unlock new stuff, and the reloaded battle pass and the merging of Cold War. Yeah, they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah. This kid won't even talk to me if it's double XP weekends and I'm not on TeamSpeak.
Speaking of kids, Phil's first show note, the Bob. Who is he? Where is he from? Why does he like us so much? None of these questions will be answered, but we just want to show love to our main man, the Bob. I would say at this point, our only man.
The Bob, we love you, brother. Thank you for coming every week. I know it's lonely in the comment section, but we appreciate you. We don't know why you like us so much.
We don't.
This is a garbage podcast, but we have fun.
We have fun. We laugh. Yeah. So for you listening out there, the Bob or anybody else, and we did have some pretty good views last week. So maybe a shorter show is maybe like 30, 45 minutes is that sweet spot because
we don't have the attention span to listen to two idiots they don't know for an hour.
Well, they're going to have to learn to know us. That's why they keep coming back. But I get your point. I sent over a screenshot of all of Bob's comments to Phil, and Phil was very, very ecstatic. And I'm sure this is why the show note was written. My guess is he is about our age. So I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to say he's in his 30s. And I'm going to say he is probably from somewhere like mid-central U.S. That's my guess. Like
I'm gonna guess the Bob is 38. I'm gonna guess the Bob is 38, and he's from Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. Well, Bob, the gauntlet has been thrown. We'll see what you write in the comments. Phil, the topic you had, and this is in all caps. This is an interesting one. Leaked GTA 5 DLC. What does this mean? It means that GTA 6 is getting less work done because fuck the fan base. Now, I didn't really get a chance to talk to you today. I know you've been a busy man as of late. Could you care to explain what the hell you're talking about here? I'm familiar with the DLC, with the new content they've added, but can you elaborate on the rest of that, please?
So if Rockstar's got people working on like new shit for Grand Theft Auto 5, that's less people working on Grand Theft Auto 6. That's less talent. That's less man hours being put into it. And you know why? Because fuck the fan base. They're still making money off Grand Theft Auto 5, so why the fuck would they hurry up with Grand Theft Auto 6? Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably seen as nothing more than an interruption.
You're right. You're right. You know, if you remember when Halo Infinite was announced, they announced they were going to do a 10-year model. If you remember that, they said it's going to be a 10-year business model. And everyone's like, no one plays a game for 10 years. And then Grand Theft Auto is just sitting over there like, really? Like
Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S.
Yeah, and it's still going. And
And I mean it when I say that they view Grand Theft Auto 6 as an interruption in their cash cow, because if they come out with Grand Theft Auto 6, the the fun money and the DLC and the other stupid purchases
Right.
from Grand Theft Auto 5 are going to cease, and they make way more money off that than a one-time transaction of buying a $60 game.
When you make a game like Grand Theft Auto that is encompassing as it is in terms of all the content, and we only scratched the surface when we were playing for a while. When you think of all the content that game has to offer, the flying, the driving, the shooting, the world, the boats, the buildings, the cars, like, what do they have left to do? Obviously, they put it on a new engine to make it look even flashier, but it's not like anybody's playing Grand Theft Auto 5 saying, you know what we really need is like this type of activity. Like, the game has it all. I don't know. They almost painted themselves in a corner where it's like there's really not much left to do at this point. I don't know how people are going to get excited because I guess maybe for the single player stuff, but like the multiplayer stuff, there's nothing left to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, they keep adding like new DLC and like new heists and stuff, but that concept is starting to get played out.
Okay.
Give us some new compelling characters, give us a new compelling story mode, and then segue that into Grand Theft Auto 6 online mode, and I don't know, monitor the fucking servers maybe. Stop putting level 2 and 3 Gemini in level 400 land, please.
Do you think that they'll continue down the road with heists? Do you think that it'll be like do you think their online will mirror what Call of Duty did, where even though you get a fresh new single player experience, it's going to port you back to the same online universe? Or I don't know, maybe you select maps or something. Like, I just don't see them getting rid of that. There's no reason at this point. It works.
Yeah, I don't know, because they didn't really like, I want to just go rob something. I don't want to do like 9 setup missions and all this other stupid shit. I want to walk into a bank. I want to point a gun at the teller and be like, give me money, and I want to leave with the money. Like, and I get it, in that world, in that expansive world, if you have that many people on a server, there's only like 20 banks spread out across the city, it would be total and utter chaos. There would just be people sitting outside of banks with sniper rifles waiting for you to come out with your hard-earned money, killing you. Like,
They did that now.
but like, it's played out. We've had enough. Like, let's do something else.
So maybe the homework is, in the future, we'll have to dedicate some time to talk about what the perfect Grand Theft Auto 6 is. Because back to the Bob again, one of the things that he loved was your breakdown, Phil, of all the cool things we missed out in a Warzone event. And you laid out just off the top of your head, oh, we needed to do this, have the nukes going off, all that. Like, I think what we need to do, and I need to think about it. I don't know if I could give a good answer now. Maybe you could. We really got to give hard thought to what the heck a perfect GTA 6 online looks like.
The perfect GTA 6, just off the top of my head.
That beautiful afroed head of yours.
No. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Sorry, my food's been picked up. Grand Theft Auto Vice City had a mafia component.
Talk faster.
Mafia games and mafia movies are universally beloved. They're a very romanticized concept, even though they're very dark and gritty and whatever. So take us back to Vice City, or take us back to New York City. Put us in this criminal enterprise. Take us through an original thought process, not the Russian mob. No one gave a shit about that.
Agreed.
Like, put us in either the Irish mob or the Italian mafia. Give us a polarizing central character, and give us some good tertiary characters. Let us work through that and get to a breaking point of we either have to go this way or we have to go this way. But either way, we're in control of our own crew or our own family, and the politics the interdynamic politics that go on with that within the assigned geographical territories which we own. And then start the multiplayer. And then the multiplayer is predicated on maintaining control of the city or something like that.
That'd
That's
be cool.
just off the top of my head.
That sounds great. So more of a social experiment in that sense, not just these...
Are you going to prioritize prostitution? Are you going to prioritize gambling parlors, bootlegging, drug deal? What are you going to do, and how are you going to create income for yourself? Are you going to boost cars and ship them overseas? Are you going to export weapons? Give us the ability to fly to different geographic locations. Have one main map and 2 or 3 other smaller tertiary locations that we can fly to that have some side quests and some gathering quests, and pack this shit on a plane and fly it back and successfully get it somewhere. I don't know. This is just off. I'm spitballing off the top of my head, but I
That
would
sounds
play that
awesome.
game.
I would like that. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, you wonder what the capabilities of the next generation, just in terms of loading times and how much more we can process. Yes, the games are going to look prettier, going to have more realistic lighting, ray tracing, whatever. But the reality is, I do believe that they can push the boundaries even further. And that sounds fun. That would be unlike an experience anybody's had. Right now, GTA is just basically turning into The Sims with guns and cars in terms of you get new clothes, you get a bigger house, and it's like, I got it. There's an audience for that, but if you want compelling gameplay where decisions matter and you're sticking your company or your neck out on the line for something, I do agree with you that I think more people would be invested in it. I mean, we liked it. It had a lot of technical issues, but at the end of the day, there's nothing unique about it. It really is just The Sims. I mean, I don't know how else to say it any other way.
Yeah.
But that would be cool.
Yeah, The Sims with graphic violence and sex and drugs. Which is a great concept. It's
It is.
obviously very engaging because hundreds of millions of people play this game.
Moving on, I know we're pressed for time if Phil's food is on its way. I want to ask you, are you excited as I am for Pokemon Snap?
No.
Dude, I am so stoked for this game. It comes out Friday. Did you play the original?
Yeah, on N64.
Did you
Yeah,
like it?
I loved it. Yeah,
Well,
but I didn't know anybody.
Oh, because you grew up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You never
So,
play Pokemon games. Why are you excited for Pokemon Snap?
I don't care if it's any... I don't even care if it's Pokemon. I just like the idea of taking pictures of animals in a little car. I have to tell you,
you know, if you log into Grand Theft Auto, you can grab your camera and go out into the desert and photograph
probably.
all kinds of stuff.
The only difference is in Grand Theft Auto, like the animals are going to be sniping at you, or Pokemon.
Does that fox have a rifle?
So when I was a kid, and maybe you remember this, do you remember that Blockbuster? I know Blockbuster's long gone, but Blockbuster used to have a kiosk at their store where you could bring your game and you could get pictures taken of it. You could, I mean, download the photos from your game to the Blockbuster and print like little 2x3 inch Polaroids. I spent so much money on that. It's stupid. And I was 17. My locker in high school was coated with grainy, blurry N64 graphic pictures of like Pikachu and Mewtwo. Me and my friends were obsessed with this game, and I look at your face.
Dude, when I played Pokemon Snap, I was 10.
Yeah,
You
I'm
were
10 years
almost
older
a
than
high
you.
school graduate?
Yeah, dude, I was an old man. I remember driving with my friends and hanging around the kiosk like thugs because it would print your picture and then the date you took the picture and your score. Remember you got a score of like how it was an action shot, it was blurry, it was in frame, whatever. And you would everybody would stand around when you put your like memory card in and it was like a gang of watching and it's like, oh, he's got a Pikachu picture and then he printed it's like 3,000 points. Everyone's like, ooh. Print it.
I don't know if the Bob's going to make it.
He quit. Well, it's just you and me now because he left. So now we can.
What's that song, How Deep Is Your Love?
Oh,
How much does Bob love us?
He's laughing at that story because he knows the lighthearted Jim, laughing hysterically, cannot wait. So I pre-ordered this sucker, and Friday it's going down. That's all I'm going to say. Pokemon, beware. I'll be throwing apples at your head, taking pictures, putting them on Twitter. I guarantee you my Twitter feed this weekend will be littered with thousands of shared photos of Pokemon.
In the dictionary, next to where it says beta cuck, there's a picture of you standing next to that kiosk.
Moving on to the final topic of the day. Phil's trash or treasure. And I like this idea. I really want to get a cool graphic for it. I didn't because I saw this show notes 7 hours ago and I was not ready. I was not prepared. Phil, rapid fire, yay or nay, the new Warzone map, trash or treasure?
Trash.
Do you think that it's trash because we're trash at the game, or do you think it's trash because you didn't think the last map was trash? You liked
Oh,
Verdansk 1.0.
I did.
Well, what
I liked it a
happened?
lot.
The pizza time?
What happened was they ruined it. They took an established map with
Mm-hmm.
actual like
Mm-hmm.
geographic locations that made sense.
Uh-huh.
And hold on. Hello?
Oh, the pizza guy. Pizza guy. This is a big pizza call. I'm gonna mute Phil here. Hold on. There, now he's muted. Pizza guy. Pizza guy. Pizza guy. It's time to go, Phil.
Pizza's here.
Uh,
So they took this map that had like
mm-hmm.
all these developed locations, and what they replaced it with was they just kind of took some like textures and
Mm-hmm.
panels and colors away and stripped it down to like gray and like sort of like brownish green tinted grass, and that's what you've got. That's what you got now. You've got like a shitty 1980s Eastern Bloc
I agree.
nonsense to run around in,
I
and it's
agree.
awful. It's stupid.
Do you want me to finish Trash or Treasure without you and you go get your food?
No, no, no. Give them to me, and I'll tell you trash or treasure. I'm just not going to give you any more long-winded explanations.
Battle Pass Season 3.
Treasure,
Cold War multiplayer.
treasure,
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
fucking trash.
And then this last one says Phil's opinions, which definitely is
Definitely
trash.
trash. It's definitely trash. All right, I'm going to go get my pizza. You tell the people why and why not for all that stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna press a button and mute you. You don't hang
Okay.
up, just go away. Yeah, all right, Phil's gone for a second. All right, I'm still here. All right, this is a very interesting show. What is that art in the background? And Phil, have you noticed that? He's got this. Let's see. I'm gonna spy on him real quick. Hold on. What is going on in that background? Is that like some kind of 3D artwork or something? What kind of hotel is this guy in? All right. Here's the deal, guys. Warzone, I agree with Phil on the map. It wasn't a new map. It was totally a rehash of the old map, and that was really, really frustrating. They could have done a better job with that. As far as Battle Pass Season 3, of course it's a home run because all the Battle Passes have been good. There's been enough stuff in there that's made the content fun and original, for sure. You've got little bits and pieces of like, not everything is a home run, obviously, but there's a cool charm. Like every 10 levels, you're getting a cool charm or a cool gun. There's some other trash in there, some throwaway skins, whatever. But I think this Battle Pass really showed us that Call of Duty is willing to continue to bring good quality content. I'm not really sure why Phil is picking on Animal Crossing New Horizons. I played the hell out of that game. I mean, the hell out of that game. Probably for like 150 days straight, and I fully beat it. I didn't know what else to do. I got KK Slider in my community. Everybody was happy. I built all my bridges. I paid off all my debts. I had this huge house. I got all this fun free content, and I was done with it. So I don't know if that needs to be like my forever game in the way that like Call of Duty is my forever game. Maybe. I think the reality is people wanted more like annualized content, and I think somewhere along the way, Animal Crossing's vision morphed from a standalone game to a pseudo games as a service. And I think when you cross that line into games as a service, you have to be willing to provide new content. And maybe people felt the base content in Animal Crossing wasn't enough and they wanted more stuff. Maybe people are connected to the multiplayer variant, the phone version. I think it's called New Leaf, or I don't know what the hell it's called, but there's like a cell phone pocket something maybe. Um, and I think that has probably got a lot more content. Maybe the diehards are comparing the two and they're saying, hey, wait a minute. The new, the cell phone version is constantly dropping events because it's very heavily monetized and constantly dropping villagers and whatever the hot new memes are. And it's a little bit harder to code this into a game. That could probably be a big part of it too. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's trash. I think if you haven't played it yet, it's fun. but I don't think that I need to go back and play it again. I did dabble a little bit when they added some of the Mario stuff. It was pretty boring. Like I bought the Mario costume so I could look like Mario and run around, um, but not that much. Let's check in and see if Phil's back. No. I'm actually watching him on this other screen over here. Anything else that he covered? We talked about Warzone. We talked about Animal Crossing. Okay, I'll wrap it up with this, and then I'm sure he's going to want to eat when he gets back. The plan is with the show to try to keep it to about 45 minutes or less each week. I noticed the numbers were significantly better last week, which for us is, like 10 viewers instead of like 5. I'm assuming it's the length had something to do with it. I always try to think of catchy titles or funny little infographs or anything like that. But the reality is, we've been doing this almost for a year straight, which is pretty impressive. I mean, we've missed a couple days here and there, whatever, but we've been pretty consistent about talking about this. And, pretty big props to Phil to figure out how to make this work, even though he's on travel pretty much every week. I mean, the guy practically lives out of a hotel room at this point. So it's good to see that we are keeping the streak alive. Maybe one day I'll get a haircut. Maybe one day I'll get my beard shaved. But for now, you're stuck with it. And if you want to have a real laugh, go back and watch like the first couple episodes. Not the shitty Skype ones, but the first one. Oh, Phil's back. We're wrapping up, Phil. I just want to wrap this up and then we'll throw it over to you. Go back and watch like the first couple episodes, not the shitty ones on Skype, but the ones where I fixed the nice OBS overlay, and look at how less hair I had. And look over the months as my beard is now almost off the screen. And you can see Phil going through these phases where his hair swells up. I make fun of him. He has an afro, and then he's nice clean shaven. And then his beard grows out. And so he's more like a sine wave. I'm more like a straight line. I don't know. Phil, I know you want to go eat. It's time. You had a busy day at work. Do you want to wrap it up? Is there anything you want to say about Animal Crossing before you go? Because I think I've done a good job defending why it was a good game when it came out. But is there any counterpoint you want to throw, and then we'll let you go eat?
No, it was a great game when it came out, but they've done nothing to adjust the quality of life or give anyone anything to do since then. They come out with these stupid like little content packs. Oh, you can dress like Mario. No one gives a shit. Give us something better to do.
Damn.
I don't know the game, but I've never played it.
Damn.
As in like my goodbye? Oh, yeah. Well, much like Jim's perpetual virginity, war also never changes.